you buy a ticket for Philadelphia, your luggage tag will say PHL. It still does today, and it probably always will be. It's the way the station originally became anchored to the city of license. As far as that Bill Weber story, that's really true, except the fact that I was in a small elevator with him at 1619 Walnut Street, which was Westinghouse's headquarters at that time. And he had just gotten the news about his career there, and when you're standing next to Bill Weber in an elevator, you're looking up. And he did agree to do that, and it turned out that that block of time from approximately 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 7 o'clock at night was Wee Willie Weber and a group of Japanese-made cartoons that we were able to buy cheap. But one of the things that we didn't buy cheap and had to pay a lot of money for was a rerun of Gilligan's Island. And I was stuck in the middle of Astro Boy, Eighth Man, and some other Japanese cartoon creations. That program had, I believe, 79 episodes to Gilligan's Island. That ran for 12 years, every day. Talk about wearing something out. It turns out that we never could wear that out because someone explained to me that kids are very comfortable when they see something that they can identify with, that they've seen before, and they know when this guy's going to get hit on the head with a club. They can see all that because they saw it before, and they're very comfortable with it, and they just become attached to it. And that was the reason why 79 episodes of Gilligan's Island ran for all those years. And Bill was the host of that. Another thing that you might wonder about is how we got the Phillies. Up until the time that they switched over to us, I think Channel 6 was running about 6 or 7 games per season. And the then owner, Bob Carpenter, was not happy with that. But what few people knew at the time was that the advertising agency that I then worked for, a company called Waitman Incorporated, was owned by two partners, Sid Tannenbaum and Dave Alexander. I guess these are not names anybody would remember. But Dave Alexander was the traveling secretary for the Phillies, and he convinced Bob Carpenter to allow Channel 17 to operate, to televise all of their games. And the rest, as they say, is history. We started it, and we actually had, I went on the file and I found some old archives, and we were there when they were just putting the finishing touches on Veterans Stadium, which isn't even there anymore. So the station has gone through, is into its second stadium now at that location. Moving right along, we moved from the studios up at Mermaid Lane in Wynmore, and we moved 3 times to 15th and Locust, 15th and Walnut, and then 16th and Walnut, and then we moved to Winfield, where it is now. We had very harrowing times of survival. We were undercapitalized. In fact, the purchase of the license from the Christian station that had it before was done with 20 people, 2 of whom were members of this organization, George Woods and Reggie Devon. Each of the 20 contributed $10,000, and that enabled us to get the seed money of $200, which is what it took to buy out the religious station. We then put the station back on the air, rebuilt it, bought new cameras, and within a year of going back on the air in September of '65, guess what happened? Color happened. And all the money that we had to raise to put that station on the air with black and white equipment became obsolete very quickly, as we too had to go into color. The other great thing that happened to us was that we were able to acquire some land, and after 1 year of zoning difficulties, get a permit to build the tower in the Roxborough antenna farm. And that's what really put the station on the map and gave us a competitive signal with everybody else. We published this coverage story, which was a big fold-out, which actually compared the VHL signal at that new site, that new 1,000-foot tower in Roxborough, with each of the Philadelphia channel 3, 6, and 10. That was our mission at the time, was to put an end to what we called three stationisms. Three stationism, because that was all that people were able to watch at that time on VHF, channel 3, 6, and 10. Channel 12 was on the air in Wilmington, and nobody could see them because their tower was insufficient and in the wrong place. We went through an awful lot of technical difficulties in those years, not just in the costly switch to color, but just everything was difficult. Just making payroll was difficult. I can recall, and this is a terrible way to live if you're in business, that on Thursday of a given week, many given weeks, we did not have payroll for Friday. Then all of a sudden, sales office door opens and Sam Feinberg or Don Heller, our two top sales guys, came into the office. It was kind of a bullpen. Everybody was in the same office, waiving a contract with our big advertisers at the time, Schmitz Beer, Atlantic Refining, and my then partner, the late Aaron Katz, took it over to the bank and hypothecated it, and we'd have payroll for Friday. Now that was, as I say, a terrible way to live, where you didn't have payroll on Thursday for the next day. We did some pioneering things, including, as many of you know, we did the bandstand type show with Ed Hurst at Steel Pier with the diving horse. How many can remember the diving horse?
Yes.
Not many, I'm sure. And diving bell out there. Of course, we did, as was mentioned by Steve, we did the 76ers on a professional level. We did not do the Flyers. That one went to Channel 48. We did do Big Five, Penn, Temple, Villanova, St. Joe, and LaSalle from the Palestra. Those weekend games were a madhouse. Everybody remembers the Big Five on Channel 17. So I guess we did our share to shape and change the three stationism, because we blasted into this town and got more viewers than people can remember. We also had the difficulty, and this is really hard for many to even think about. Well, when we went on the air in '65, we were on a thing called UHF. And that began with channel 14. And people couldn't get channel 17, or 29, or 48. And so the big problem at that time was to encourage the development of a UHF audience, which meant that television sets would have to be, of course, the FCC mandated that as of a certain date, all television sets would have to be what they call all channel. But it was a difficult situation, even though the sets were coming out of the box with that little circular or bow tie antenna. People didn't understand how to use them. They got discouraged when they couldn't get a clear picture of our station, and we had to fight that too, because any rating point that you got in those days was against the fact that so many of the homes didn't have the ability to get your station. Even though at times we felt that cable was an enemy, they were actually the great equalizer, because they put us on an even dial, if you will, with channels 3, 6, and 10. It was a hard road to hoe at that time, and we finally made it. I stayed with the station until the early 70s. I had a 5-year contract, and I stayed an extra year when we sold it, or we actually gave up control to a company called American Viscos, AVC, out of Wilmington. It was a closed-end investment trust that gave us 19 million to use Channel 17 as a template to build four other stations, which we did. They are KEMO, Channel 20 in San Francisco, WPGH, Channel 53 in Pittsburgh, WXIX, Channel 19 Cincinnati, and WATL, Channel 36 in Atlanta. We could not use Channel 17 down there because a guy named Ted Turner put his UHF station on the air on Channel 17, so we settled for Channel 36. We may have a minute or two for some questions, or anybody want to dig into the memory box. Okay then, thank you very much for this honor, and the best years for that station are yet to come.